at Pontchartrain Beach.
You'll have fun every day of the week.
Pontchartrain Beach was a fabulous place.
We don't have that anymore. And yes, I do miss it. It's very much missed.
I loved Pontchartrain Beach. My favorite ride was the Zephyr.
It rattled and claddled and knocked people around and bounced around, and it was exciting. It had hills and humps.
I rode it one time. I wanted to try it at least once. So I did, and that was how many times I rode it, once.
It's something you never forget. It was a blast.
Fond memories of yesteryear, if you will.
In New Orleans, that's where we went for fun, Pontchartrain Beach.
This moment of New Orleans history is part of WDSU's Making 300, celebrating 300 years of our city's rich and unique culture, sponsored by the Historic New Orleans Collection, preserving the history and culture of Louisiana for over 50 years.
Many people have styled the Battle of New Orleans as the last war and America's second war for independence.
The British Army and Royal Navy made a determined attempt to seize the city of New Orleans. They thought they could just come in and take it, but they weren't expecting to run into a major roadblock in the form of Andrew Jackson.
He allowed the assemblage of a force of local militia.
An incredibly diverse, ethnically, linguistically, culturally diverse group.
And in many respects, the Battle of New Orleans redefined the identity of an American.
This moment of New Orleans history is part of WDSU's Making 300, celebrating 300 years of our city's rich and unique culture, sponsored by the Historic New Orleans Collection, preserving the history and culture of Louisiana for over 50 years.
1929, there's a nationwide transit strike. Strikers who operated our streetcars went on strike.
And Benny and Clovis Martin, who made their way up in the streetcar industry, when they heard the word their boys weren't getting paid, they put the word out. You come to Martin Brothers Coffee Stand, show your badge, we'll feed you. We'll feed our poor boy. Hence the name, Poor Boy, meaning no money.
Dirt cheap sandwiches that people could afford. They sold them for around 15, 20 cents.
Such a humble sandwich. The simplicity of it, I think, is what makes it so good.
It's like walking your dog or going to church on Sunday morning. The po' boy is culture you can eat.
It's where you at, where you at, man. Come on here and get a po' boy. I mean, it's unbelievable.
This moment of New Orleans history is part of WDSU's Making 300, celebrating 300 years of our city's rich and unique culture, sponsored by the Historic New Orleans Collection, preserving the history and culture of Louisiana for over 50 years.
November 14, 1960. I don't know how to put it in words.
This is the day that school integration finally came to pass. On that morning, 4 young African-American students in the New Orleans public schools went to their first day of school.
We came in from the back of the school building, and when we turned, all I could see was masses of people, not realizing that, the crowd was an angry crowd. I had no idea that it was because there was a difference in the color of my skin.
Equal facilities for everyone, I think, is an important part of what it is to believe in America.
Now when I look back, I know that day means a lot to New Orleans.
This moment of New Orleans history is part of WDSU's Making 300, celebrating 300 years of our city's rich and unique culture, sponsored by the Historic New Orleans Collection, preserving the history and culture of Louisiana for over 50 years. New Orleans, for 300 years, it's been a city famous for its traditions and culture, but this fame creates a constant battle. How to preserve the past and still progress toward the future.
Join WDSU as we examine New Orleans' struggle to hold on to its history while continuing to remain relevant.
WDSU's Tricentennial Celebration, Making 300, Progress and Preservation, Tuesday at 6:30. Sponsored by the Historic New Orleans Collection.
My mother's life was one of hard work.
She loves cooking, she loves service. She does what my mother wants to do, and nobody's going to tell her any different.
I never go to bed without doing something for somebody else.
Celebrating Leah Chase, part of WDSU's Making 300 series, honoring New Orleans Tricentennial, Saturday at 7 p.m. Sponsored by the Historic New Orleans Collection, preserving the history and culture of Louisiana for over 50 years.